All right, so let's talk about the role of A. That first number that you saw in example 1 and example 2, that was your A coefficient. It's the first number you see whenever you have a quadratic function in standard form. It's going to be right there. So let's talk about what the A does, because it does something. In your notes, you have a nice pretty box there. Whenever you see something in the box, you got to remember it's very important. So here's what we're going to put in the blanks. We're graphing. Now this is for graphing, okay? So that's the terms that we're talking in. If your value of A in your function is a positive number, okay? It's a positive number, then the parabola will open, this is what you're putting in the blanks, upwards. I don't know if that's a word, but will open up. So your graph will look like that. Anytime the A is positive, you know at least that's what the graph is going to look like. Now, you may not know where it is, where the axis of symmetry will be, but that tells you it's going to be open up. All right, so fill in the blanks there for that first sentence. For your next sentence, this is what occurred for example 2. If the value of your A is a negative number, okay, so it's negative like it was in example 2, it was a negative 3. You notice the difference in your graph. If the A is negative, then the graph will open down. So it will be an upside down U. And notice how I'm putting my arrows on there. I expect you guys to do the same thing. Put your arrows on there to show that it's continuous. So this is what your A does. Now A has two roles. The big role is telling you if it opens up or down. It tells you if your curve is up, tells you curve is down. If you get it mixed up, I don't even have to look at the rest of your work. If I know what my A will be to determine where the graph opens up, if you get it wrong, I don't even look at the rest. If my A is positive and your graph looks like this, I don't even go any further because you don't know what you're doing. So make sure you remember what this means. Now, this is the big role of A. Big role. A also does something else. Look at the sentence under your box there. A also handles one more responsibility. Okay, so write this down. The value of A also affects the width. This is what you put in that blank. The value of A also affects the width, how wide your parabola is, or how narrow, how skinny it is. So here's how you know, just by looking at the number. Now number, we're not talking about if it's positive or negative. We're looking just at the number. That's why you see the term absolute value. You're just looking at the number. So the smaller your number, because if you don't like absolute value, cross it out and just put the number, not including the sign. The smaller the number, the wider. So I'm going to write the smaller the number, just the number, no sign, the wider the parabola will be. The wider it will be. So we're talking fractions. You may want to write that term down because in our case, it's when I give you a fraction, you got to know it's going to be nice, big, juicy parabola, nice, big, wide one. Okay, so that's when you see fractions, that's when you're going to know if it's going to be a pretty wide one. If it's a big number, like 10 or 7, it's going to be a skinny mini parabola, very, very narrow, okay? So keep that in mind. The A tells you if it opens up, if it opens down, and how wide it is. Now, let's see. I'm going to give you some information that I want you to answer the questions. Now, I can't tell what you're doing if you're doing this on a video, but if I'm teaching this in class, I'm going to give you these two functions, and you got to answer the questions before I do. So turn your page over, and you're going to answer the following questions comparing these two graphs, these two functions, without graphing. See, I didn't give you any graph paper right there. So here's your two functions. The first one is y equals 1/4 x squared. And then the second one is y equals, here it is, -4 x squared. Put these two terms in your blanks and then answer the questions. And try to answer them before you start the next video. I mean, try to do something on your own. Y'all just can't. I mean, we're at the end of the school year. Y'all I can't hold your hand forever. You want me to escort you in your geometry classroom and introduce you? No. So go ahead and see if you can answer these 4 questions on your own.